The Power of Letting Go, a Buddhist perspective on embracing change and finding inner peace in every season of life. Imagine this. You wake up every day with the weight of your past on your shoulders, dragging you down. You hold tightly to memories, dreams, and identities that no longer fit who you are today. Have you ever felt like you're desperately holding onto the past while life keeps changing around you? Do you find yourself exhausted from chasing a life, a version of yourself, that doesn't resonate with who you've become? Does this sound familiar? The struggle to keep everything in place, even as time relentlessly moves forward, leaving us behind. We cling to moments, desires, even the image of ourselves we once held dear. But here's the truth. True peace doesn't come from holding on, it comes from learning how to let go. Welcome to a journey that could change everything you thought you knew about peace and happiness. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into an ancient Buddhist concept, letting go, a wisdom that has been passed down for thousands of years, and one that holds the key to unlocking a life of serenity and freedom. This isn't just about releasing material things. It's about freeing yourself from the mental clutter, the attachments, regrets, fears that prevent you from truly living. We will explore how embracing change, letting go of attachments, and accepting the impermanence of life can lead to a deeper, more fulfilling sense of peace, no matter where you are in life. Now, let me ask you a question. Think for a moment. What is it in your life that you've been holding onto? Perhaps it's a regret, a painful memory, or a dream that you've carried for far too long. How does holding onto this affect you? How does it shape the person you are today? What would it be like if you could set it down and leave it behind? This video isn't just about theory. We'll be talking about real, practical ways to let go and the profound impact this can have on your life. By the end of it, you might just realize that the thing you've been holding onto could be the very thing that's preventing you from experiencing the fullness of the present moment. Stay with me until the end, because there is so much more to discover. You won't want to miss the transformative lessons we'll be sharing, and you might just find the key to unlocking peace and freedom in your own life. Part 1. The truth of letting go, freedom in Buddhism. In the teachings of the Buddha, letting go is not a passive act of surrender or defeat. It is, in fact, the gateway to freedom. True freedom does not come from controlling or possessing, but from releasing the grip we have on the things we cling to. It's about setting down the weight of the past and the expectations of the future, allowing us to be fully present in the moment. This freedom is what the Buddha refers to when he speaks of nirvana, a state of liberation, peace, and ultimate tranquility. In Buddhism, attachment is considered the root of all suffering. We attach ourselves to our identities, our possessions, our relationships, our past experiences, and our desires for the future. But in holding on so tightly to these things, we end up trapping ourselves in cycles of craving, dissatisfaction, and fear. The more we cling, the more we suffer, because life is constantly changing and we resist that change. To understand this, think about the way we relate to the past. How often do we find ourselves replaying past mistakes, wishing we could change things we can no longer control? How often do we attach our sense of self to achievements or failures that no longer serve us? The more we hold on, the more we allow these attachments to shape our reality, making us prisoners of the past. The Buddha teaches us that everything in life is impermanent. Our thoughts, our feelings, the people we love, the possessions we accumulate, none of these are permanent. They are fleeting, like the clouds drifting across the sky. Understanding this truth, Anika, the impermanence of all things, is the first step towards letting go. The moment we stop resisting the natural flow of life, we free ourselves from the suffering that attachment brings. And in that freedom, we find peace. There is a story in Zen Buddhism that beautifully illustrates the idea of attachment and letting go. A Zen master once gathered his students and asked them to reflect on the nature of the mind. One of his students, eager to demonstrate his understanding, said, "Master, the mind is like a pond. Still and clear, it reflects everything around it." The Zen master smiled and said, "No, the mind is like a monkey, swinging from branch to branch, always in motion. It clings to thoughts, emotions, and experiences, never allowing the stillness to settle." He continued, "To find peace, we must learn to release the mind's grip, to stop swinging from thought to thought and rest in the stillness of the present moment. When we let go of our attachment to thought, we open the space for true peace to enter." This story teaches us that our minds are often restless, constantly clinging to things, whether they are past regrets or future anxieties. We move from one thought to another, never fully at rest, creating turmoil within ourselves. The act of letting go in Buddhism is akin to learning to stop that swinging motion, to stop grasping at every thought and emotion that arises. Instead, we learn to sit in stillness, allowing life to come and go without the need to hold onto it. By letting go, we free ourselves from the mind's endless chatter, and in that freedom, we discover the profound peace that is always available to us. Letting go does not mean we stop living or stop caring. It doesn't mean abandoning our responsibilities, our relationships, or our dreams. On the contrary, letting go allows us to fully engage with life without the weight of attachment holding us back. It means we stop clinging to outcomes, stop controlling every aspect of our lives, and stop carrying the burdens of our past. Think of it like a river. The river doesn't force its way through rocks or resist the obstacles in its path. It simply flows, adapting to the changes along the way. When we let go, we are like the river, moving with the current of life without fighting against it. We begin to trust the natural flow of events, allowing things to unfold as they will, knowing that each moment is exactly as it is meant to be. Letting go is an invitation to live without fear, without regret, and without the constant pressure to meet expectations, whether they are our own or those imposed by others. We don't have to constantly prove ourselves or chase after an image of who we think we should be. When we let go, we begin to embrace life for what it is, in its raw, imperfect beauty. There is a sense of liberation in letting go. It's a freedom that comes from recognizing that we don't need to control everything around us. Life doesn't need to be perfect for us to find peace. In fact, it is often through accepting imperfection that we discover our deepest sense of peace. We stop being consumed by what we've lost or what we fear we will lose. Instead, we begin to live fully in the present moment, knowing that it is enough. In the Buddhist tradition, letting go is not about resignation, but about liberation. It is about finding peace in the impermanence of life and freeing ourselves from the endless cycle of attachment and suffering. By learning to let go, we open ourselves to the fullness of life, embracing each moment as it comes, without fear, without regret, and without resistance. Letting go is a radical act of freedom, a freedom that allows us to be present, to love deeply, and to live fully. It is through this practice that we truly begin to live, not just survive, but thrive, in the flow of life's ever-changing current. And when we let go of the weight of attachment, we create the space for wisdom, love, and peace to enter our lives in ways we never imagined possible. Part 2. Change is inevitable, the nature of life's flow. Change in Buddhism is not simply a concept, it's the very nature of existence. It is foundational to the teachings of anicca, the principle of impermanence. Anicca teaches us that all things are in a constant state of flux. From the fleeting moments of our thoughts to the aging of our bodies, everything we experience is impermanent. It's a reality that we cannot avoid, and it is precisely what makes life both beautiful and painful at the same time. As we grow older, we become more acutely aware of this truth. Our bodies no longer move as swiftly as they once did. Our minds, once sharp, may begin to wander. Relationships change, sometimes unexpectedly, as people come in and out of our lives. Our desires shift. Things we once held dear may no longer matter, and new passions may emerge. The fear of change often makes us feel out of control, but if we can learn to embrace this change instead of resisting it, we will find that it leads us to growth and wisdom. Buddhism doesn't encourage us to fight change, but to accept it as a natural part of life. Change is not something that happens to us. It is something that is happening in us, in every breath, every thought, every moment. In fact, it's through embracing change rather than fearing it that we discover deeper meaning in our lives. When we try to resist change, we not only increase our suffering, but we also prevent ourselves from fully engaging with the life we are living right now. The key to finding peace in a world of constant flux is to let go of our attachment to permanence and flow with life as it is unfolding. Consider the story of a leaf falling from a tree. When the leaf detaches from its branch, it doesn't mourn its departure. It doesn't try to hold on or resist the inevitable pull of gravity. Instead, it simply lets go, allowing itself to be carried by the breeze. In that moment, there is no fear, no sadness, just acceptance. The falling of the leaf is not an end, but a transformation, a natural part of the life cycle. This story is a beautiful metaphor for how we can approach change. Just like the leaf, we often try to cling to what is familiar, whether it's a relationship, a job, a dream, or even our physical appearance. Yet when we hold onto what is gone, we prevent ourselves from moving forward. The leaf's fall creates space for new growth, and so does every change in our lives. If we resist, we deny ourselves the chance to evolve. The process of letting go, whether it's of a person, a dream, or a phase of our life, is never easy. But just as the leaf falls naturally, we must trust in the unfolding of life. It's important to recognize that, while things may come to an end, this is not a loss. It is part of the beautiful dance of existence. Change is not something to fear. It is the necessary force that carries us from one season of life to the next. Change does not need to be feared or resisted. It is a force that, when accepted, brings us into harmony with the rhythm of life. Every moment is a new opportunity to experience something fresh, to learn, to grow, and to step into the next chapter. This is the great gift of life. It is always unfolding, always offering us new possibilities. Consider the simple wisdom of nature. The seasons shift, the tides ebb and flow, the sun sets and rises again. Life moves in cycles, and just as the seasons change without our intervention, so does the course of our lives. When we hold onto the past, we fail to see the beauty in what is emerging in front of us. For example, when a tree sheds its leaves in the fall, It may seem like the tree is losing something precious, but in fact, the shedding of leaves makes room for new growth in the spring. What once seemed like a loss becomes a space for new life to bloom. We too must make space in our hearts for what is new and yet to come. If we hold on to the past, our memories, regrets, and old desires, we block our own growth, much like a tree that refuses to shed its leaves. When we embrace change, we shift from a place of fear and resistance to one of acceptance and peace. We stop holding onto what no longer serves us and begin to trust that life will give us what we need in each new moment. Each change is a stepping stone, leading us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Letting go of attachment to the past allows us to be present with what is, free from the burden of what was. In Buddhism, this is called right view, a way of seeing the world as it truly is, without the distortion of attachment or fear. When we cultivate this right view, we discover a world rich with possibility, where every moment is full of potential, and every change is an opportunity for new growth. Ultimately, life is a dynamic process of change, and when we allow ourselves to be part of that process instead of fighting against it, we discover peace. Just as the leaf falls naturally to make room for new life, we too can let go of the past, allowing new experiences and growth to blossom in our hearts. Part 3. Letting go does not mean giving up. In today's fast-paced, achievement-oriented world, the concept of letting go is often misunderstood. We're raised with the mantra, never give up, push forward, hold tightly to your goals. From a young age, we are taught to chase after success, to persevere no matter the cost, to constantly move forward. But what happens when this relentless pursuit of success, this constant striving, leads to exhaustion, dissatisfaction, or a deep sense of unfulfillment? We've all been there, working endlessly towards an ideal, convinced that reaching our goal will bring us happiness, only to find that the moment we achieve it, we're left feeling empty. We ask ourselves, is this it? Was this all that I've worked for? It's not the failure that brings discontent, it's the attachment to the outcome. When we cling to our goals as if they define us, we miss the richness of the journey, the lessons learned along the way, and the present moment, which is the only time that truly exists. Buddhism offers a refreshing and deeply liberating perspective on this. Letting go, in the Buddhist context, does not mean giving up. It means releasing the need to control outcomes, to bend life to our will, to force things to happen according to our own timelines. It's about surrendering to the present, accepting the ebb and flow of life, and trusting that whatever unfolds is exactly what is needed. It is not about relinquishing your dreams or ambitions, but rather, it's about letting go of the rigid expectations that hold you captive. Letting go, from a Buddhist perspective, is an act of profound strength, not weakness. It takes courage to release what no longer serves us, whether that's an old way of thinking, a toxic relationship, or an outdated goal, and trust that the universe, life, or whatever higher force you believe in will guide you. We are not abandoning our lives, our aspirations, or our responsibilities. Rather, we are allowing life to unfold with a sense of grace, clarity, and ease. It's a subtle but powerful shift in perspective. When we release our grip on the outcome, we become open to the many ways life can unfold. There is a liberation in this release, a freedom that allows us to step into the flow of life without fear or resistance, trusting that we are always exactly where we are meant to be. Let me share a story that beautifully illustrates this concept of letting go in a way that is both gentle and powerful. There is a river constantly flowing, never fighting against the current. When the water rises, the river does not struggle. It simply allows the current to carry what it must. It does not mourn the things that are swept away, whether it's a branch, a leaf, or a rock. The river doesn't hold onto any of these things. It moves with the flow. This story is not just about a river, it's about how we can live our lives. Like the river, we are invited to flow with life, not against it. Every moment, like a wave, carries something new. A new experience, a new opportunity, a new challenge. But if we are constantly clinging to the past, to what is familiar, to what we've known, we become like a dam that blocks the water's natural flow, stifling the very life force that wants to move through us. When we let go of the things that no longer align with our journey, whether that's outdated habits, toxic relationships, or old beliefs that no longer serve us, we allow ourselves to move with the flow of life. There is freedom in releasing our attachments, freedom in knowing that life doesn't need to be controlled or perfected. We do not need to fight against life's natural flow. By letting go, we create space for what is meant to come next. This doesn't mean we stop acting or we stop setting intentions. It means we trust that what will happen, and what needs to unfold will unfold. We allow the flow of life to guide us, trusting that each twist and turn will lead us to where we need to be. Letting go does not mean losing ourselves. It is a process of reclaiming our true essence. When we stop clinging, we stop fighting the natural flow of life, and we begin to see the world with clearer eyes. We let go of expectations, judgments, and the constant striving, and in doing so, we create space for a deeper connection to ourselves and to the world around us. There is less resistance in our hearts, more peace in our minds, and greater freedom in our spirits. We no longer feel the need to force things to happen or control every outcome. Instead, we learn to trust life's process and embrace the unfolding of each moment with a sense of ease. The act of letting go is like stepping into a river's current, not in fear of where it will take us, but with trust in the journey. We no longer feel the weight of our attachments dragging us down, but instead, we float freely in the flow of life, open to whatever comes next. This doesn't mean that life will be without difficulty or challenge. Letting go doesn't mean life is easy. It means that we meet life's challenges without resistance, without fear, and without clinging to what no longer serves us. And in doing so, we discover that life, in its fluidity, becomes something much more beautiful, rich, and full of possibility. In the end, letting go is not a loss. It is an opening. It is the invitation to live fully, to love deeply, and to embrace life as it comes. When we trust the flow of life, we find peace, not in the outcome, but in the journey itself. Part 4. Practicing letting go, finding peace in every moment. The present moment is the only space where life truly happens. It is easy to forget this in our busy, fast-paced world, where we often get caught up in the whirlpool of past memories and future anxieties. We may spend our days replaying past mistakes, reliving old regrets, or obsessing over what the future might hold. In doing so, we miss the only reality we have, now. Buddhism teaches us that this moment is the only one that truly matters. The past is already gone, the future hasn't arrived. All we have is this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. Mindfulness is the practice of returning to the present, of gently redirecting our wandering minds back to where life is unfolding right in front of us. When we practice mindfulness, we stop running after time, trying to control it or make it behave according to our wishes. We stop worrying about what we've missed or what we might lose. Instead, we savor the sweetness of each passing moment, fully alive, fully present. Imagine the way a flower blooms. It doesn't worry about the weather it faced yesterday or the rain it might get tomorrow. It simply opens itself to the sun in this moment, unfolding its petals in the now. We too are like that flower, capable of opening to the fullness of life, but only if we stop looking backward or forward. It is only when we accept that this moment is enough that we unlock the peace we are desperately seeking. The mind that is forever chasing after something else, whether it's a better version of itself or the future it imagines, can never find true peace. True peace can only be found when we stop running and let life catch us in the present. Now, let's take a moment to practice a simple meditation together. This exercise will help you experience the power of the present moment. Start by closing your eyes. Gently settle into a comfortable position, feeling the weight of your body grounding you to the earth. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, letting your lungs fill with air. Now, exhale slowly, releasing any tension you may be holding in your body. With each inhale, bring your attention fully to your breath. Feel the coolness as you breathe in, the warmth as you breathe out. Notice how the air moves through your body, how it nourishes and refreshes you. With each exhale, imagine releasing a small worry or thought. Let it go, like leaves drifting away in the wind. Just for this moment, let yourself be fully present in the breath, in the stillness of the space you create. If thoughts arise, that's okay. Simply acknowledge them and gently bring your focus back to the breath. Each breath is an invitation to return to the present, to this moment of peace. As you breathe, know that in this space you are free. The past is not here, the future is not here. All that exists is the gentle rhythm of your breath, the gentle unfolding of this moment. Living in the present is the key to unlocking the peace we seek. When we allow ourselves to live fully in the present, we let go of the weight of the past, the mistakes, the regrets, the what-ifs, and we stop being burdened by the anxiety of the future. We stop striving for an imagined future that may never come, and instead we embrace the richness of what is unfolding right in front of us. In each moment, there is an opportunity for peace, for clarity, and for connection. Every breath we take is a chance to be present, to open ourselves to the full experience of life. By practicing letting go, we free ourselves from the chains of past and future, and we awaken to the beauty of now. Buddha taught us that peace is not something we chase after. It is something we allow to emerge when we stop resisting the natural flow of life. When we let go, we stop fighting life. We stop fighting ourselves. We simply rest in the present moment, where everything we need is already here. Let me share a simple story about a pebble in a stream. One day, a man was walking along a peaceful stream, watching the water flow smoothly over the stones. But then he noticed something extraordinary, a small pebble in the middle of the stream. The man wondered how the water always seemed to find its way around the pebble, smoothly and without resistance. He leaned in closer, observing that the water never fought the pebble. Instead, it flowed naturally around it, allowing the pebble to be a part of the stream without interrupting its course. It dawned on the man that the pebble wasn't struggling to stop the water. It simply allowed the flow to carry it. In this simple observation, the man realized the power of the present moment. Like the pebble in the stream, we too can exist within the flow of life, without trying to force things, without struggling to control every outcome. By letting go, we allow the current of life to carry us forward, effortlessly and gracefully. In each moment, we are invited to rest in the peace of now. We can let go of the past, release our anxieties about the future, and simply be present in the richness of the moment. This practice, this art of letting go, is what leads us to a life of peace, freedom, and contentment. When we embrace the present, we embrace life itself. Part 5. Embracing a new life after letting go. Letting go is an act of liberation, a powerful way to release the weight of the past that we've been carrying for far too long. But it's more than just freeing ourselves from regret or pain. It opens the door to new possibilities, to fresh beginnings. When we let go of the attachments that bind us, whether to past relationships, lost dreams, or old hurts, we make space for new growth. We give ourselves permission to explore new opportunities, to dream new dreams, and to welcome the unknown with open arms. Imagine how a garden looks after being cleared of old, dead plants and weeds. It might seem empty at first, but that empty space soon becomes fertile ground for something new to grow. When we release what no longer serves us, we make room for the beauty of new experiences, relationships, and wisdom to bloom. Letting go allows us to see the world with fresh eyes. It's like taking off a pair of glasses that have been clouded with dust, and suddenly we see the colors, the details, the beauty that we missed before. Without the filters of past attachments, we can see things as they are, not as we think they are. We become open to life, and life becomes open to us. We stop viewing everything through the lens of what we've lost or what we fear, and instead, we start experiencing the world with a sense of wonder, curiosity, and joy. When we let go, we also find more peace. We no longer feel the constant tug of expectation, fear, or resentment. We move through life more lightly, more freely, without the need to control or fix everything. In letting go, we discover that life is not something to be controlled, but something to be experienced, fully, deeply, and with an open heart. We learn that peace isn't something we achieve by striving, but something we find in surrendering to the flow of life. There's a story of a traveler who spent his entire life searching for a rare treasure. He wandered through mountains, crossed rivers, and trekked through deserts in search of this elusive gem. He was obsessed with the idea of finding it, believing that it would bring him the happiness and fulfillment he longed for. He searched for years, never finding the treasure, always thinking that the next step would be the one that led him to his goal. One day, exhausted and worn, the traveler paused in a small village. Here, he realized something. He had been so focused on the destination that he had failed to notice the beauty of the journey itself. Along the way, he had made lifelong friends, learned countless lessons, and discovered new parts of himself. He had been so wrapped up in the search that he missed the very thing he was looking for, the richness of life itself. Like this traveler, many of us spend our lives chasing after something, a perfect career, a relationship, or a material goal, believing that once we obtain it, we will finally be happy. But what if the true treasure isn't found in the destination, but in the journey? What if the meaning of life is not in achieving something, but in fully experiencing each moment as it comes? This story serves as a reminder that in our search for the next big thing, we often overlook the beauty, joy, and lessons available to us right now. The journey itself is the treasure, and the key to finding peace is to embrace it with an open heart, free from the need for a specific outcome. Letting go is about surrendering to the journey, not the goal. It's about releasing the need for everything to turn out the way we planned, and instead trusting that life's unfolding is exactly as it is meant to be. Life is full of twists and turns, some of which may take us down paths we never expected, but each path holds its own lessons, its own beauty. When we let go, we stop fighting against the flow of life. We learn to embrace the unknown, to trust that what is meant for us will find its way to us. In this surrender, we find the freedom to experience life fully, without the weight of fear, expectations, or resistance. It's not about achieving perfection or reaching a specific destination. It's about finding peace in the journey itself. Think about a river again. A river doesn't force its way through obstacles. It doesn't resist the rocks, the bends, or the slow-moving stretches. It simply moves forward, trusting that wherever it goes, it is exactly where it's meant to be. Just as the river flows, we too must allow ourselves to flow with life, to trust that even when the current is slow or the waters are murky, we are always moving towards something greater. When we embrace the present moment, when we stop clinging to the past and stop obsessing over the future, we begin to experience life in its fullness. We realize that every moment is precious, every step is part of the dance of existence, and every breath is a gift. By letting go, we free ourselves from the chains that keep us bound to fear, regret, and desire, and we open ourselves to the beauty of what is right here, right now. So, take a moment to reflect. What are you still holding onto that no longer serves you? What are you chasing, believing it will bring you peace or happiness? What if, instead of chasing, you simply allowed yourself to be, to let go and trust that life will unfold perfectly in its own time? Letting go is not about losing something. It's about gaining everything that life has to offer in its purest, most authentic form. In surrendering to the flow of life, we discover that the true treasure is not somewhere ahead of us, but right here in every moment we are alive. Life is not a destination. It's a journey where we must constantly learn to let go and embrace the changes that naturally arise with each season. We cannot stop time. We cannot control every twist and turn that life throws our way. But what we can control is our ability to flow with life's natural rhythm. Letting go is not about losing something, it's about gaining everything. It's a process of trust, trusting that life is unfolding exactly as it should, even when we can't see the full picture. It's about releasing the need to fight, to resist, or to manipulate the course of events. The peace we seek is found in the present moment, in the space we create by simply letting go of our attachments, fears, and expectations. Imagine the freedom of living without the constant weight of what was or the fear of what might be. This freedom is not a distant dream. It is waiting for you, right here, right now. Letting go is a gift we give to ourselves, a key that unlocks the beauty of life, the simplicity of being, and the joy of simply living in the moment. It is in the act of releasing that we open ourselves up to the fullness of life, and we discover that life, in all its imperfections, is enough. Now, take a moment. Think about what you are holding onto. Is it a memory, a regret, a fear, or perhaps an expectation that no longer serves you? Ask yourself, what can I let go of today? It's not about making big changes all at once. It's about gently releasing what you no longer need, so you can embrace the fullness of the present. If this video has touched you, if you found value in the wisdom of letting go, then share it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't let these lessons stay locked inside. Spread the message of peace, freedom, and mindfulness. Let's continue this journey together, finding peace in the present moment, one step at a time. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss the other powerful insights we'll continue to explore. Together, we can build a community of individuals who embrace change, who trust life's flow, and who, above all, understand that the best part of life is not ahead of us, but right here, right now. Thank you for being here today. May your path be filled with peace, and may you always find the strength to let go and embrace what comes.